James Cameron's 2009 movie Avatar takes place in the year 2154, a future in which Earth has nearly exhausted its natural resources. In response to this crisis, a powerful corporation called the Resources Development Administration, or RDA, ventures to Pandora, a distant moon orbiting a planet in the Alpha Centauri system. Their objective is to extract an extremely valuable substance known as unobtainium, showing little concern for Pandora's fragile ecosystem or its native population. These natives are the Na'vi, towering blue-skinned humanoids standing about 10 feet tall who live in deep balance with nature. Because the atmosphere of Pandora is deadly to humans, the RDA uses genetically engineered human-Na'vi hybrids called avatars, which allow humans to safely operate on the moon. After the unexpected death of his twin brother, paraplegic former Marine Jake Sully is recruited to take his place as an Avatar operator. The head of the Avatar program, Dr. Grace Augustin, doubts Jake's suitability for the role, but despite her reservations, she allows him the opportunity to prove himself. While inhabiting his Avatar body, Jake accompanies Dr. Augustin and scientist Dr. Norm Spellman on an expedition across Pandora. During their journey, they are suddenly attacked by the moon's dangerous wildlife. In the chaos, Jake becomes separated from the group and is forced to run for his life. He is eventually saved by a Na'vi woman named Neytiri. She brings Jake to her clan's massive home tree, where he begins learning about the Na'vi way of life, discovering the depth, beauty, and complexity of their culture and the natural world they protect, an environment where all living things are interconnected in perfect balance. When Jake later returns to the RDA base, he is confronted by the organization's aggressive head of security, Colonel Miles Quaritch, setting the stage for growing conflict between the humans and Pandora's native inhabitants.
Quaritch promises that RDA can fix Jake's legs permanently in exchange for more information about the Na'vi culture and the home tree, which sits atop a rich deposit of unobtainium. As Jake continues to learn more about the Na'vi and gain their trust, he is eventually initiated into Neytiri's Amadakaya tribe. Eventually, Jake and Neytiri also fall in love and choose each other as mates. This leads to Jake feeling guilty about being used by RDA as a spy, and for RDA's mining practices irreparably destroying Pandora's ecosystem. In an act of defiance to save a sacred Na'vi site, Jake disables an RDA bulldozer. RDA head administrator Parker Selfridge begins to grow frustrated with the setbacks to his company's quest for unobtainium and orders the destruction of the home tree. Grace, an ally of the Na'vi, who fears the damage the home tree's destruction could have on Pandora's biological neural network, races with Jake to warn and evacuate the Na'vi. In an effort to explain the urgency of their warnings, Jake confesses to be an RDA spy as he pleads with the Na'vi to flee their home. In response to this revelation of betrayal, Jake and Grace are taken captive by the Na'vi. Quaritch and his team then arrive, destroying the home tree and killing many of its Na'vi inhabitants, including Neytiri's father, the clan chief. Although Neytiri's mother, Moat, frees Jake and Grace to save their lives, the two are detached from their avatars and imprisoned by Quaritch's team. One of Quaritch's pilots, Trudy, is horrified by his brutality and decides to help Jake, Grace, and Norm escape the RDA soldiers and return to their avatars to help save the Na'vi. Though, during their escape, Grace is shot. To regain the Na'vi's trust, Jake dangerously confronts a highly feared and revered creature known as the Turuk and connects his mind to it. Earning the Na'vi's respect and proving his connection to Pandora, Jake is able to convince Moat to take the dying Grace to the sacred Tree of Souls, where the Na'vi attempt to permanently transfer Grace into her avatar body. Despite their best efforts, Grace dies in the process. Grieving his friend, but resolved to help save the Na'vi, Jake supports the new clan chief, Sute, and helps rally other Na'vi clans on Pandora together to fight back against RDA. As Jake fully gives himself over to the Na'vi culture and prays to their deity Awa, a massive battle begins between Quaritch's forces and the many clans of Pandora. During the battle, both Sute and Trudy are tragically killed. As the Na'vi begin to lose the battle, they are helped by the various Pandora wildlife who join the fight against RDA, which Neytiri sees as a sign of Awa answering Jake's prayers.
As RDA forces are defeated, Quaritch tracks down Jake's Avatar Link unit, exposing his human body to Pandora's toxic air. As Quaritch is about to kill the Avatar Jake, Neytiri arrives, killing Quaritch and saving her love. As the film comes to a close, the Na'vi are victorious, expelling all of the humans not loyal to them from the planet. Jake then decides to have his human body brought to the Tree of Souls, where it is permanently placed in his avatar body, allowing him to reunite with Neytiri and rejoin his new family in the Omaticaya Na'vi clan. The story continues in Avatar: The Way of Water. 16 years have passed, and Jake Sully is now chief of the Omakanya clan while living a peaceful life with Neytiri and their children, sons Natam and Loak, daughter Tuk, and the adopted Kiri, seemingly immaculately conceived from the lifeless avatar body of Dr. Grace Austin. The children of the Sully family have also become close friends with Spider, the son of the late Colonel Quaritch, who has been raised by human scientists allowed by the Na'vi to stay on Pandora to research its environment. Unfortunately, after so many years of peace, RDA returns to Pandora, attempting to colonize it once again. Leading this charge is General Francis Ardmore, and to help their cause, RDA has developed recombinants, Na'vi avatars implanted with the memories of deceased human soldiers. Leading this violent group is none other than the revived Miles Quaritch, who is left with conflicting feelings over now living in the body of the very species he is trying to oppress. As Quaritch's team attack Jake's clan, he manages to apprehend his own son, Spider, and interrogate him for how to best capture the Na'vi chief, Jake Sully. Realizing his family is no longer safe, Jake flees with Neytiri and their children across the sea to live amongst the Med-Saina clan. There, Jake and Nati forge an alliance with Chief Tanawari and his wife, Renal, while Loak forges a bond with the chief's daughter, Raya, who teaches him the ways of her people, leading to the two developing romantic feelings for each other. Loak becomes the target of bullying from Raya's brother, Alnung, who takes Loak on a hunting trip at sea, but then strands him in dangerous water. Loak is rescued by Payakan, a whale-like creature known as a Tolkun. Loak and Payakan forge an unlikely friendship, which in turn wins Loak the respect of Alnung, who explains that the Med-Saina view the Tolkun as spiritual brethren, though Payakan is an outcast from the rest of his species. Payakan explains to Loak that he was outcast from his tribe after attacking human hunters that killed his mother, leading to more violence being brought against the Tolkun. Jake and Neytiri's adopted daughter Kiri also takes an interest in the sea, and upon linking her mind to the underwater spirit tree, she experiences visions of Grace, though suffers a seizure and nearly drowns. Jake seeks out the help of his human scientist friends Norm Spellman and Max Patel, who determine that Kiri suffers from epilepsy and risks dying if she tries to link with the spirit tree ever again. Meanwhile, Quaritch and his team track Norm and Max to the general vicinity of the Med-Saina clan. The colonel brings along his son, Spider, who attempts to teach his father about the Na'vi's culture. To reach the Med-Saina, Quaritch aligns with one of RDA's marine units and commandeers their massive Sea Dragon vessel, which includes marine biologist Dr. Ian Garvin and is captained by the Tolkun hunter Mick Scoresby. Years ago, Garvin discovered that the Tolkun produce a liquid known as Amrita, which could hold the key to stopping human aging, and so Scoresby has been mercilessly killing and extracting Amrita from the species ever since. Unable to locate Jake Sully amongst the water clans, Quaritch begins slaughtering villages and killing Tolkun in the hopes of drawing Jake into a conflict. When Loak learns that Payakan is in danger, he rallies his siblings and friends to save the Tolkun. Quaritch manages to capture Loak, Raya, and Tuk, while the other kids flee the RDA forces. Learning the children are in danger, Jake's new Med-Saina allies enter the fight. Amidst the conflict, Payakan takes revenge against Scoresby, destroying his boat and severing his arm, leaving the Tolkun hunter stranded at sea. While Kiri and Alnung are pursued by underwater RDA vessels, Kiri uses her unique spiritual bond with Awa to control the underwater environment to take out their pursuers. As Jake and Nati board the Sea Dragon to save their children, Spider remains loyal to his Na'vi allies and sabotages the vessel, causing it to begin to sink. Neytiri arrives on the Sea Dragon to rescue Loak, Raya, and Tuk, though Loak refuses to leave without his friend Spider. And so, Loak rescues Spider while Natam grabs an RDA gun to cover their escape. Unfortunately, Natam is then shot and killed, tragically dying in the arms of his family. Quaritch then recaptures Tuk and Kiri, drawing the grieving Jake into a final confrontation. Quaritch holds Kiri at knife point, demanding that Jake surrender, but the rageful Neytiri arrives, similarly holding Spider at knife point, despite the child's loyalty to her family. Ultimately, Quaritch relents to save his son, though everyone's lives are in danger when the sinking Sea Dragon fully submerges into the ocean. Kiri saves Neytiri and Tuk, while Jake strangles Quaritch and leaves him for dead, before being rescued by Loak and Payakan. Spider rescues Quaritch but then abandons him to return to the Sully family. In the end, Jake and Nati give Natam a traditional Med-Saina funeral, giving his body to their spirit tree. Chief Tanawari accepts the Sully family as official members of his clan, which Jake vows to protect with his life. Jake now realizes that he will never be able to escape RDA, and must fight to bring them down once and for all.